scoring. There's really no other way to say it. Defensively, I think the Knicks did a lot to them, but the Sixers just stopped shooting good shots. They just stopped making any kind of buckets, and the Knicks did not. And that's the story of this one as the Knicks take that 3-0 series lead. And we welcome you here to Sixers Postgame Live, brought to you by Cure Auto Insurance. Amy Fadul, the coach, Jim Lynam, and our big man, Mark Jackson. And Mark, I'll start with you. I mean, when you look at it, JWill Embiid made a layup, and it was a 2-point game late into the third, and you're thinking, all right, a little momentum here going. But then they just failed to score pretty much at all after that.
Absolutely. I thought it was two long stretches, the one you mentioned and the one in the first quarter, last 4 minutes. I thought those two of the Sixers, couldn't hit nothing. One thing I must say, my vision tells me, it was a lot of guys playing tight, which means guys had opportunities to take open shots or be aggressive, and they passed up shots or start overthinking. And that was like the moment was a little too big for them, respectfully. Not all of them, but some of the players. And I was very disappointed in that. And I thought that was the time that New York kind of took over the momentum twice in the game. Yeah,
I mean, momentum definitely was on the Knicks side. But the Sixers had a chance to take it away from the coach, and it just seemed like there were so many missed opportunities. Rebounding is going to be the story of this one when you look at a lot of the different things as far as the second chance points. The bench is going to be another. What stuck out to you?
I agree with you. Rebounding was a huge part of the game. But at the end of the day, for me, Amy, you have to score in the hundreds if you're going to be able to win in the playoffs. The Sixers scored 42 points in the second half. And when you look at the numbers, their shooting percentage down in the low 40s, and they made 5 out of 21, 22 threes. You're just not going to beat a good offensive team. And make no mistake, this Knicks team is good. They're good at the offensive end. They're good at the defensive end. And if you expect or aspire to beat a team like that, you have to be really at your best. And to me, the Sixers, they were decent, but they weren't close to their best.
Yeah, you were clearly, there's a number of guys that were hampered in this one. That was obvious when you watched the game. But we got to check out that game changer, because it is talking about what we're talking about, what we're discussing. Our game changers brought to you by Filton Banking three-pointers. It was 78-76 when JWill Embiid made his bucket. And they didn't score again in the last, 140 of this one, Coach?
Yeah, and I think you have to say, you like maybe most of these shots. But if you're going to go on a stretch like that, you can never afford it. I wouldn't call that a good shot. But, it's,
I think he thought he was going to get fouled maybe.
But aside from that, I think those other shots are pretty good shots. They were a contender, but this team is much better than I realized. And this was without Anunoby tonight.
Correct.
Arguably one of their, well, no, not arguably, is one of their top players. So, as I say, the Sixers, they needed to be real close to their best, and they simply weren't that.
No, there was just a lot of defensive lapses on the Sixers end, and then the way that they were able Coach, I think you pointed it out right there. Those were decent shots, but when you're seeing so many misses at three, do you think maybe just try to drive it? How do you solve that?
It's a great question. Here's what I want to do. And I understand the popularity of the three, and certainly the players understand that, and they're kind of conditioned to shoot it. But I'm going to go back to 2 nights ago's game in the Garden. You're in a 1-point game. The last 3 Knicks field goals, okay? I can't describe them all, but I can describe this. Brunson got the first 2 of them. How did he get them? He got the ball out past the 3-point line. He penetrated toward the basket, and he rose and shot a mid-range jumper. Bam, bam, he made 2. And then the dagger was the identical kind of play from the other side of the court by Mikal Bridges.
Yes.
Got a ball behind the 3 line, looked at his defender, put it on the floor, 2 dribbles, jumped, boom, bam. 3 straight mid-range jumper. When you're bleeding, the mid-range is the answer.
Yeah, and you did not see that on the Sixers end. They were just firing away, trying to get something, and I get it. But at some point, you have to just see that ball go through the hoop, get a little extra going your way. There was a lot of different matchups we were looking forward to in this series. The center position, Karl Anthony Towns and JWill Embiid. Tyrese Maxey against fellow All-Star starter and Jalen Brunson, and it is squarely gone Jalen Brunson's way. You should check out these numbers, especially tonight. Jalen Brunson was slow out of the gates for him. At one point, we realized that Kelly Oubre and Jalen Brunson had the exact same amount of points, which probably surprised people because they were both at 22. Jalen Brunson is a quintessential closer. He's a guy that if you need a bucket, he's going to be able to get it for you. The thing that I want to point out to you, Mark Jackson, though, is the 12 up there, 8 for 12. And then the one right below it, 1 for 3. That's a very low number because if you look at what Maxey had been shooting as far as the number of field goal attempts, those were in the 20s.
Yeah, I don't care what the outcome of the game was, as far as the battle, but I think superstars, and I'm not talking about the game overall. I'm talking about the battle between those two. Superstars got to be superstars when the lights are on, and I think Maxey only attempting 12 shots was very disappointing to me, because I think JWill Embiid being in and out the lineup, JWill Embiid not being 100%, I think those things pretty much turn the switch on. Like, Maxey, you got to be the guy. You have to go get us this win. 12 shots is him leaving opportunities on the table. I know New York's an exceptional defensive team, exceptional game plan for Maxey, but you got to find a way to get going. You must find a way to get 20 shots, minimum 20, 22 shots in this situation.
Yeah, Coach, I mean, we heard from Tyrese Maxey after game 2, and he said, they've been running a lot of traps at me. That takes me out of my game. I have to be able to recognize that better and pass out of it better. We do as a team. He did have 7 assists, so I guess he did pass out of it better, but 12 attempts is very low for him, especially just 3 threes.
Yeah, I'm with Mark. I mean, if you look at the numbers, it's a very efficient game for Maxey. He made 2/3 of his shots. He had 7 assists. He only had 2 turns. But he is to me, he is the high scorer of this team, having played more games, scored more points. So, yeah, you somehow have to find a way. But Mark, he really gave you the answer, I think. I'd like to hear what Tyrese has to say, because I know he will be asked the question. But he did get doubled a lot. And I will say this, there was a stretch in this game where he was getting doubled at one end and Brunson was getting doubled at the other. And it was night versus day with regard to success, that the Knicks flat out carved up that trap. They put the ball into the center of the court, and they got basically a little floater in the lane by the guy shooting himself, or if it came at him, they threw, and they made their three-point shot. The Sixers didn't turn it over when Maxey got trapped, but they didn't score against that trap anywhere near as effectively as did the Knicks.
Yeah, that's the point right there, that they just were not as effective. And you mentioned Jalen Brunson. A tremendous game for him. That's the reason he is the all-star starter. He is the engine that makes that Knicks team go. No surprise there. Played 38 minutes, 11 of 22, so very efficient. 3 of 8 from 3. Made almost all of his free throws. 9 assists, 5 rebounds. 3 turns for 33 points, was a plus 13 in this one. And it's another vastly double. Got to be it there, Mark Jackson.
Absolutely. He is such a gamer. He is literally a gamer, people. When the game is on the line, he finds a way to step up. Now, let me bring something up. That's a fact. Coach just said it. They double-team Reese. They double-team Brunson. What was the difference here? Brunson found a way to continue to get the ball. Don't ever let an opponent take you out your game plan. If it's doubling, okay, I'm going to get rid of him. Find a way to get it back. Brunson did just that. He was efficient. He wasn't efficient. He was hunting his shots. He knew the team needed him to be good. Offensively, look at that getting downhill. Because OG wasn't there. He said, let me do it. And that's exactly what he did.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a carbon copy of some of the other games we've seen where he finds his spot and he's able to drive right to that. So schematically, Coach, is that something that they're going to have to just – is it just about 1-2 with the defense of Jalen Brunson? Is it something they can scheme as far as just bringing a few more traps, maybe a better look at a double? I'm not really sure because there hasn't been an answer yet.
Well, you ready? You can put me on that page. I'm not really sure either. When you have a really, really top-level player, one of the tops in the NBA, Brunson qualifies with that, and then you complement that with a scheme that's really, really good. I'm going to say this on behalf of Mike Brown, and I know Mike Brown casually through Steve Kerr, Golden State coach, because Brown was on that bench for like 5 years. And when I look at this Knicks team, I see some shades of the way Golden State plays. I know the world looks at Golden State, all those shooters, Curry and Thompson, no question. Draymond Green, playing. I see similarities with the way they play. This team, the Knicks team, they move the ball, they move the bodies of the people. They play a lot of movement, and as a result, it makes it really difficult to zero in on Jalen Brunson.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they were able to do. That's an interesting kind of parallel. I'm going to have to look at that more because I like that, because they do have like the enforcer type of role. They have the shooter type of role. They have guys that know exactly what they need to do.
Picture when the ball's in Karl Anthony Towns' hands. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Totally different player. I'm seeing Draymond Green. Yeah. They're totally different, but they're big guys who are playmakers because these other guys are doing such effective things off the ball, trying to free each other up. And as a result, you have a good passer with the ball. And now if you have a star, Curry, Brunson. It's hard for your defense to lock it. Here's what we're going to do on him. Well, they do a lot of that, whatever pick and roll for Curry or Brunson. They do a lot of other stuff where they're moving all around. It's very, very difficult.
And they had a bunch of role players as well who really stepped up. You've got guys on this team like Mikal Bridges and Josh Hart who just are such difference makers. They do such little things that really turn up big time in that box score. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to check in on Joel Embiid tonight. We know that he was questionable up until basically game time of this one, dealing